How's it going, guys? Welcome to another video, and in today's video I want to talk about Saltburn. I just went and saw Saltburn the other day, and this movie is pretty bonkers. Saltburn is a student at Oxford University finds himself drawn into the world of a charming and aristocratic classmate who invites him to his eccentric family's sprawling estate for a summer never to be forgotten. That is the plot for Saltburn. It's kind of a weird plot, but or a weird description of a plot of this movie. This movie is crazy, and it stars Barry Keoghan. Actually, Barry Keoghan, I believe is his name. It stars Barry Keoghan. It's Keoghan. Alright. This movie stars Barry Keoghan, Jacob Elordi, and it also stars Rosamund Pike and Carey Mulligan, along with Richard E. Grant. This movie is wild. This is from the same woman that directed Promising Young Woman, Emerald Fennell. I really enjoyed Promising Young Woman. It was pretty dark and interesting. Now, this movie follows a guy who is in college, and I guess he's there from a scholarship, and he doesn't have many friends, and he becomes infatuated with this one guy that was like the popular rich guy at Oxford, and he becomes friends with him, and they hang out, and at a certain point he invites him to his family's estate, and we go from there. This movie is crazy. This movie's bizarre. This movie has some really dark, graphic things in it. It's kind of hard to not talk about this movie without giving spoilers, but I will do my best. The acting in this by the main character, Barry Keoghan, I think is his last name, is amazing. He does a great job. This movie reminds me a lot in tone, and also like the cinematography and the score reminds me of Bronson with Tom Hardy. This is like Barry Keoghan's Bronson, I feel like, where it's just a showcase of his acting, and he just kind of is all over the place in a good way in this film. He's a pretty crazy guy. I highly recommend checking out Saltburn. It's a wild ride. It has some twists and turns. I think this movie thinks that it's a masterpiece. I think Emerald Fennell's very confident in this movie, in the filmmaking of this movie, and I think she thinks that this is a masterpiece, or that she wants this to be a masterpiece. I think the ending, in particular, there's some twists that I think weren't handled very well throughout the movie. This movie is very confident. In the very beginning of the film, there's a very quick montage, a very quick little thing that kind of shows you glimpses of frames that later on play out in the film. So she very much just like throws it in your face of like like real quick, and like, oh, I showed you the ending already. Do you even know that? I don't know. So it's very confident, very flashy. So it's a little cocky. And also I just don't think that it was handled very well. It was a little clumsy at the end. Alright, so that's basically my review of Saltburn without giving any spoilers. But this movie really has to be talked about with spoilers. So anything from beyond this point, I highly recommend you check out that movie if you're okay with seeing some like dark things, kind of graphic. This is a graphic movie, so if you're not into kind of a graphic horror thriller movie, which this movie kind of turns out to be, wouldn't recommend seeing it if you're not into those things. But if you are, I do think that Saltburn, though it's not a masterpiece, I do think it's a very solid, very good thriller, and a fun ride, even though it's very dark and grim in some places. I highly recommend you check it out. That is Saltburn. Now, from this point forward, I'm going to be talking spoilers, alright? So everything past now, if you haven't seen the movie, don't watch. Turn it off. But if you have seen the movie, what was that movie, man? This is crazy. There's, oh man, the scenes, the bathtub scene. Everyone talks. So when you hear people talking about this movie and they talk spoilers and stuff, everyone seems to be talking about the grave scene where, you know, the main character, he humps a gravesite. He has sex with a grave, with dirt, basically. That's pretty crazy, man. That's pretty crazy, but that is not the craziest bits in this movie. I'm not gonna get too graphic because this is YouTube, but the grave is not the craziest thing. The bathtub is also not the craziest thing, but the bathtub is pretty crazy and disgusting. That's pretty crazy and gross. So that was crazy. But the other one is the vampire scene, and if you don't know about the vampire scene, then you haven't seen the movie. And if you have seen the movie, you know about the vampire scene, and that was disgusting. That was crazy. I was sitting in the theater and there was like 15 other people there, and it was pretty silent during that scene. I was hoping for, or I was maybe expecting somebody to be like, "Dear God," or like, oh my goodness, this is crazy, because that's what I was feeling. But nobody was saying it, so we all just kind of sat awkwardly while this was happening. And he was like, "Lucky for you, I'm a vampire." And that was wild. That was crazy. I need to talk to somebody. I don't have a therapist, but I feel like I should need one. If I had one, I would tell them about this. I'd be like, "This was this crazy thing, man." Anyway, wild movie, right? Wild movie. I can talk because we're in spoilers now. The montage at the end where it reveals that he's been, you know, killing all these people. We knew that he was killing all these people, right? It's very easy. But I guess the montage kind of reveals like how far back he was planning and like how far back he was doing this stuff. With like the bike and flattening the tire of the bike and all that. But it would have been nice in the montage to show us him killing the dad, or like how he killed the dad, and then like same with the mother as well. Like we see that she's in like a coma or something, or, you know, paralyzed, but we don't see how that happened. It would have been kind of nice to fill in those gaps, but instead they kind of fill in gaps that we already know. You know, like, yeah, I get it, man, you obviously killed the sister, and you killed, you know, so it was a little clumsy, a little weird, but ultimately I do think it is a solid movie. It's a solid acting piece, and I would recommend checking it out, even though it is very disturbing. The vampire scene, that's all I can say, man. The vampire scene is just disgusting. And the bathtub scene, pretty disgusting too. And the grave is the most tame part of it, you know. That's like the least, that's like whatever, man. Alright, dude, you're gonna, you know, that's fine. But the vampire scene was pretty disturbing. So let me know what you think. Did you see it? Are you traumatized? Do you need help? I wish I was sponsored by BetterHelp. I could give you a code. You probably need a code after that one. Yeah. Alright. Well, that's all I have to say about Saltburn, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Alright. Bye.